What's up, bro? Yeah. See, that winter's almost over, so you know I'm alright. That makes me happy than a motherfucker. Don't stop thinking. Look, that look like a damn refrigerator, bro. Alright, y'all, hold on for 1 second. I think y'all gonna like this video. I just gotta put on my gym shoes real quick and then hop in the driver's seat. But all right. So y'all see the title, man, and I understand that when you work a lot of overtime, just trying to get my shoes together, man, real quick, so I can really tell y'all how I feel about this. All right. Overtime could be good, it could be bad, but everybody understands that the more you make, the more they take, right? Everybody understands that. But a lot of people still ignore it because they feel like, well, shit, my check is still bigger, so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? That's how a lot of people feel. They be like, look, man, my check's bigger. It doesn't matter. I'm making more money. But let's break that down and see if you're really making more money, or are they simply paying you extra for overtime just to pay for your taxes. So and all in a nutshell, you might just be working for the same or even less. Let's break this down. Now, if you want to make more, if you need the extra money, I guess you have no choice, right? But let's say you work 5 days normally, and you make, like, let's just say 1,000. We're just going to throw some numbers. 5 days, 1,000, right? And let's say you bring home 1,000. That's better. You work 5 days, you bring home 1,000. That is 200, right? So you bring home 200 a day. Now, let's say if you start doing overtime, yeah, your checks will be bigger and shit, but let's say you do the math of what you bring home after the overtime, and let's say you worked 6 days, and you do the math, and you only brought home, I don't know, 1,100. Let's just say you brought home 1,100. So now you gotta divide 1,100 with 6 days. Or you ain't even gotta do that. Let's just look at how much you made after the overtime. Look at all your checks and then look at what you actually made extra, what you actually brung home. A lot of times what's happening is, even if you like a doctor or whatever, it doesn't matter. A lot of times what's happening is you are actually bringing home less on those days that you worked extra. You make more, yeah, but you're bringing home less because of the tax bracket. Sometimes it doesn't matter. It depends on how much you make, like how much total you make. I get it. That's why it's important for you to divide what you bring home with how many days you work. That's the only way you can figure out, like, where are you safe at when it comes to overtime. Because if you don't do this, you might just be working a bunch of overtime, and then you go ahead and divide up the days versus what you bring home, and you might find out you're making less a day than what you would have made if you worked less. But here's where you could cheat the code, cheat the system. Let's say you're a doctor. You could work at one job and then work at another job as a doctor too, opposed to doing the overtime. Why? Because I just told you why. If you work overtime, sometimes you making less a day, but if you got a whole nother job, you're going to be in a good tax bracket. You're not going to get as taxed as much. You probably make more a day in that job than you do at your other job because you made less. You know, all together you made less, so you're getting taxed less. So therefore you're making more a day. Why is it so important to make sure you make the right amount a day? Because ultimately you don't get that shit back. I hear a lot of people saying, oh, you'll get this back at the end of the year, and man, fuck all that shit. We don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? And everybody ain't gonna get that back at the end of the year. Matter of fact, the more you make, some people don't even get nothing back. So this is why this is important. So yes, your check might look a little bit more bigger, but you have to break that shit down to how many days you work. No way around it. You know, at my job, I'm not working no more than 5 days, because if I work 6 or 7 days, yeah, my check will be bigger. But if I break it down mathematically and divide 6 or 7 into what I make, I'm going to be making less a day. Let's just say, hypothetically say I make 300 a truck, bring home 300 a truck, every truck I unload, and then I work overtime. Now I'm only bringing 200 home, bringing after tax 200 home a truck for the same thing. So how's that better? It's the same thing with overtime. It's the same thing, y'all. You have to do the math. I'm not saying overtime is bad, because you might fall perfectly in the right position. It's all about dividing the days you worked with how much you brought home. And if it's still the same, if you worked 7 days and you divided it, what you brought home, and it equaled out to the same or very close to or more than what you did when you worked 5, then you're good. But if you work 5 days, you divide that, what you bring home, and then you do 7 days and you divide that, and it's less a day, there's a problem there. Why would you do that? Unless you needed the extra money, that's fine. But on the other hand, you could pick up a whole nother job and be way better on the tax side. You probably bring home more. It could be the same exact job. You could be a doctor here and a doctor there. Same thing. You're just not working for the same company overtime. That overtime shit more or less is to cover. I'm starting to think they give you overtime to cover for the taxes that you're about to get raped for. So, man, life is short, man, and ain't no sense in working yourself in the ground. You know, you thinking you get more money, but when you add that shit up and you look at them damn numbers, like Dr. Dre and IQ said, I know these numbers now, you can't fool me. So, like I said, man, you gotta look at these numbers. Not just the number on your fucking, pay stuff that you bring home. Yeah, it's gonna be extra, ain't no doubt about it, but you gotta add up. Is it worth those extra days? And to me, you know, if I'm bringing home 200 a day, and then I work Saturday and Sunday, if I'm only bringing home 200 a day for those days, that ain't worth it to me, unless I needed the money. So some of y'all, that might be worth it. But the video, what I'm trying to say in this video is, do not be deceived by the overtime, man. It only works out to your benefit if it's got to be right. Like, what I mean by that, like maybe 10 hours overtime, that might be all right. But you start getting 20 and 30, a lot of people thinking that they making all this extra money, but if they bust this shit down, if they bust down the hours they worked or the days they worked, you know, and divided it by what they made, they're going to find out that you really almost working for nothing, or you're working for less. You're working extra for less. And to me, 5 days is a lot of work. So the last thing I want to do is work an extra 6th day that's probably going to damn near push me over my limit as far as physical, you know, needing rest and all that shit and enjoying life. And I'm only doing it, and I'm doing it for less money. Nah, that's dumb. Think about it. It's dumb. It does not matter. It does not matter. You see, some people, they get caught up in how much they make. They don't look at what they bring home. Fuck what you make. What did you bring home? I tell all these people, I'm a boss. Okay, you make all that money. How much do you budget? You see what I mean? It's not about how much money you can make $1 million and only profit $1. What the fuck did you make? You go buy a business, you in debt for $1 million until you could make all that money back, but until you start making profit off the business, what does it really mean? So that's all, man. I'm not gonna keep this video too long, man. Just do not be deceived by the overtime, man. Unless your overtime is like they make your job easier or something, like you get a helper or some dumb shit like that. And all right, fuck it, man. I guess that's cool, because you ain't working as hard or something like that, man. But a lot of people, they fall under the category of they're already close to the tax limit to where they're going to be falling under another bracket. And once they fall under that other bracket, they're actually going to get taxed more. And they probably not going to ever see that tax again. So they actually working for less. They stressing themselves out working 6 or 7 days for less. If you're going to do that, get another job. Like, it could be the same career. You could drive trucks here, drive trucks there at a different company. But once you go to that different company, you're in a lower tax bracket again. So shit, for 2 days work, you might bring damn near almost what you making in 4 days at the other job. It might happen that way. It does happen that way sometimes with taxes. You just never know with taxes. That's why you gotta calculate and do your math on these motherfuckers, man. You gotta look at your pay stubs. So whoever out there working 40 hours, you want to work 50 hours? All right, go ahead. But look at your pay stubs. And then start adding and dividing and whatever the fuck. If you work by the hour, whatever it is. You work by the hour, a day, whatever. Start dividing that shit and see if it's really worth it. So to me, like if I bring home $300 a truck and I work over a 6th day and I still bring home about $275, that's fine. It's still less, but I could deal with that. But a lot of times it'd be like going from 300 to 200 or something. It'd be a big change, but the deception comes in because you see the checks bigger. You like, oh, my check's bigger. I'm doing something. But if you do that math, you know what I mean? Just like NWA and them, man, how they got that. Them numbers look good for a ghetto kid that ain't never seen them. But once you start doing that math, like Master P said, oh, this white guy says we're worth 10 million. How much are we really worth? You see what I mean? Yeah, that 10 million look good, but they worth way more than that. See what I'm saying? That's how it be, y'all. Yeah, you a boss, you own a store, or you doing this and that. Yeah, that money that you make look good. But how much you got paying taxes? How much are you profiting? How much do you have left over? Like owner-operators versus a company driver. You know, some of them owner-operators are they're not profiting as much as somebody like me that has a good job as a as a company driver. I'm telling y'all the truth. Because look, even if you're an owner-operator, you're making a lot of money. Let's say something happens to your truck and it's a $50,000 fix. So all that money you made, now you got to put in that truck. If I was a company worker though, I made 50,000, say 50,000, I ain't got to put nothing in that. I'm not saying it's better off, because you should be wanting to be a boss. You know what I mean? But I would say at least 2 trucks, not just one. But that's the deception I'll be trying to tell y'all about. Yeah, you make more, but what are you at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, what are you bringing home? It's just like the dope game. You could be moving packs all the fuck you want. What are you budgeting? Or do you owe motherfuckers? You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you got all that work, but you owe a lot of motherfuckers, so you really ain't got shit. So yeah, man, do the math on this shit, on this overtime. Anybody out there, I'm gonna get off here after I say this one more time. You've been working 40 hours or whatever. Some people don't get paid by hours. Some people even get paid by salary, which is another good point. Some people get paid by salary, but they working 70 hours or something. They might be better. If they do the math, they might make more working on a clock somewhere else. That's why you gotta sit back and do your fucking math. So like, you working 40 hours, you look at your check stubs, and then you say, I'm gonna work some overtime, man. I'm gonna try to make me some more money. Then look at your check stub, you work 50 hours. And then divide that shit. Do the math or the numbers. If you get paid by the hour, divide it by that. If you don't get paid by the hour, you get paid by the day. Divide it by that and see if that extra day actually cost you money. Like, okay, you bring home 300. See if it didn't cost you to fumble down to 250 or 200. If it did, you got to ask yourself, is it really worth it? But most people don't do that. They look at the check and they be like, that's more money. That's 200 more. Yeah, but for that extra hard ass day of work, you already tired from 5. Now you about to do 6 and you doing it for less money? Nah. But there is a cheat code, like I told y'all earlier. You could just get another job, a second job, and guess what? You know, you only made probably, let's say you made 500 at that second job. They only gonna bust you for about 100. So now you got $400 for that one day or something, versus $200 at your job in overtime that you brought home after tax. You see what I'm saying? Fuck the tax. We ain't talking about how much you made. That don't matter. That's where people get deception. Oh, I'm making $40 an hour. Look, it don't matter. What did you bring home? After you did the division, what did you get? I mean, simple mathematics. Like Ice Cube and them said. That's why Ice Cube didn't fuck with that second contract. He did the math. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, Dr. Dre and them, they was little kids, man. They never seen money like that. So what do you think they gonna do, man? You know, like your boy Master P said, shit, this white man said we worth 10 million. Dog, we gotta be at least worth 100 million. We gotta be. And he was right. So don't always be deceived by them numbers, man. Them numbers need to be calculated. But other than that, man, y'all have a good weekend, man. Not telling you not to work overtime. Sometimes you need the extra money. You ain't got no choice. But it's still something to think about. Like when you do have a choice, like after you do it, like you find a different job or something, you might be better off working that second job, dog. Because you just might bring home more ultimately than working overtime at your same job. I'm just saying. So with that being said, man, start doing these numbers, man. Do the math on this shit, man. You gotta calculate shit. Ain't no choice, man. I'm out of here, man.